Hey guys, today we're going to be going over a ABC XYZ deck list for the Genesys format. We're going to go through a couple variations today. We're going to talk a lot about options, tech, and we're going to talk in depth about the rationale for why we're building this way and what choices we're making for what, so you can make your own adjustments per your own format and what you prioritize in terms of points in engine versus points in tech. First, we're going to start off with our kind of standard core to all of our ABC Genesys deck lists. We're playing 1 Union Hanger, 3 X-Cross Cannon, 3 Union Activation as our kind of core starter set. These are some of the worst starters available to us. They don't function as tech cards. You can't board wipe with them, and ultimately each of them boil down to a normal summon, which puts you in an awkward situation once it gets destroyed or negated. Through our starters, we'll talk about our engine, our standard ABC engine in Genesys, again non-FTK variant now, is looking like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1Y, 2Z, 1 X-Head Cannon for unit activation, 1 Galaxy Journey to make our combos work, and then the optional Torque Tune gear. So just quickly going to Torque Tune gear, specifically, you only run it if you want your lines that don't start with Ancient Fairy Dragon, which is a subset of our engines. So for example, you start with Union Hanger, or you start with X-Cross Cannon, or the Magnet Engine, for example. You can use Torque Tune gear to extend your combos, as long as this is as part of you have it included as part of your engine slots, to bridge into AFD, which gets you your Therian. So this is an optional slot, and better in decks where you're not planning on making Ancient Fairy Dragon as the starter for your combo to get yourself your Union Hanger as part of your entry into the combo lines. So I'm going to suggest cutting it for now, but just know that option exists if you ever want to make your combos go a little further. Next, just continuing with the standard kind of core, we have 3 unauthorized reactivation. This is because in your non-FTK variants, you are playing both A and C, which are important targets for reactivation. Oftentimes, you're using it to ensure that your combos go through by countering Nibiru, or if you're going second, playing into back row, oftentimes they'll try to use traps to negate or destroy some of your pieces on board that you're using to combo with. Additionally, in the non-FTK variant, your combos are a little more flexible. So what you can do is, if you open a, you can use unauthorized to equip either Z or Y and launch your combos that way. So in that way, it kind of acts as an enabler for 2-card combos, as long as you're opening one of your engine slots. We're going to talk a little bit about Therian King Regulus and Discoliseum. Therian King Regulus, I think, is a staple at 1 in all of our ABC Genesys deck lists. It provides a negate. We make sure a lot of our starters try to bridge into Regulus as an option. So either we try to make sure they function as a starter for a full 1-card combo, a Regulus to provide omni negates to insulate other starters we have if we draw multiples, or our starters often go into board clears. But Regulus is one of the most important options we have available to us in both the FTK and non-FTK variants. The question is, how many Discoliseums you end up playing. Discoliseum, especially when you have 2, allows you to leverage this on-field effect to prevent monster destruction by sending secondary copies from deck to grave. As well, it functions as recursion for Therian King Regulus. So a really strong card for the deck. It is 20 points, but I think it's one of the most important kind of pieces we have in our ABC Genesys toolbox. Next, we'll quickly talk about the extra deck components of our core ABC Genesys list. So we have 2 ABC Dragon Busters. We have 2 XYZ Hyper Dragon Cannons. We have 2 Union Controllers. Typically I play 2 Union Controllers. This is the minimum required for the combo that we're resolving in this deck. Here we have our Ancient Fairy Dragon. If you're playing the Ravine package, which I suggest you do, or you're playing your Tortune gear to add your Omni-Negate Therian as part of the combo. So that's kind of optional. And from there we have our XYZ monsters, starting with Galaxy Photon Dragon, Starring Knight, Bujente Tsukiyomi, and 1 Utopic Futures Exile. It's now 5 points, but still worth making in the deck. As I mentioned before, our core starters are very normal summon dependent, leaving them vulnerable in that regard. That also means they're kind of clunky. If you draw multiples, it becomes an issue. You could play 2 more Hanger for 10 more points, but adding more normal summons to the deck isn't going to help you get anywhere, really. And specifically in the Genesys deck lists, unlike in the TCG, typically pieces in hand don't act as extenders for our combos. Our combos are 1-card combos that result in the full end boards. You can go crazy with those end boards. You can do just about anything, such as FTK. So in Genesys, having multiple of these in hand isn't going to do a whole lot for you, which is why we're only playing the 7 of them. Next, we'll quickly talk about it against the engine slots. So in Genesys lists, you're looking at 9, well, maybe 8 engine slots. Let's say 8 for now. You're looking at a ratio of about 1-to-1 at the core of your deck. I think in modern deck building, this would be considered a terrible ratio. We're looking to really fix this with our engines by playing really heavy starter to engine ratios and ultimately diluting these engine slots out. So as we go up to 60 cards, we're going to try to improve on that 1-to-1 starter to engine ratio that we see in the core ABC deck. And this is one of the reasons that I think it's a mistake to stick to 40 cards, even in Genesys, where by going up, you're kind of diluting your points, if you will. We still need to fix this issue of the 1-to-1 starter to engine ratio. Now moving past our core ABC components, which include our kind of starters, our engine, our unauthorized reactivations, and our Therian, we can now get into some of the options we have for deck building with ABC Genesys. The first one I want to talk about, though, is going to be our Ravine package. This is simply 3 Remus, 3 Ravine, and 1 Destrudo. I said kind of in detail in the FTK video, but really this lets you play through interruption by ensuring that an X that gets Veilered can simply turn into a Ancient Fairy Dragon via Ravine, pop it, and go right into Hanger. It kind of forms a 2-card combo with everything. You can summon a Mulcharmy and use Ravine to convert that into a combo. So oftentimes, if you have a special summon monster, you'll use Ravine to form Black Rose Dragon, just doing a quick little board clear, or using Ravine to search out for your Therian Regulus via Disc Coliseum. So one of the themes you're going to see across the starters we talk about today is going to be that they function as pseudo 1-card starters or pure 1-card starters themselves. They have the option to search a Omni-Negate in the form of Regulus, or there's the option to create a board clear via Black Rose Dragon or potentially Exciton Knight. Another important thing to mention when it comes to the Ravine package is this is probably the best starter to engine ratio that we have from among our available secondary ABC Genesys engines. Now that I've talked about what I see as kind of the core to the two variants we're going to talk about today, that being the core of ABC plus the Ravine package, we'll talk about the first engine we're going to add and above and beyond that for one of our variants that we're going to talk about today, and that's the Magnet Engine. This engine, because of the current points list, is playing 10 one-card starters and our 4 engine slots. There's an option to cut your brothers if you'd like. So they are 1 linear, 3 Magna Bonding, 3 Deuterion, 3 Infernal Punisher, and we have our Omega Plus, Epsilon, and Sigma Plus. The great part about this engine is just like the Ravine engine, this engine can result in both a 1-card combo without any of our starters. It improves on our brutal 1-to-1 starter to engine ratio we see in our core deck. It has the option to produce a Therian for an Omni Negate to insulate other starters. It also has the option to produce a board clear in the form of Exciton Knight. And like the other engines we're talking about today, it doesn't need a normal summon to get going. It can get going on its own. So for our Magnet Engine to get to our 1-card combo, we take all 3 of our magnets and convert them to Alimbertion, searching out our X-Cross Cannon. And then we're going to normal summon our X-Cross Cannon. So in the event that we're using our Magnet Engine to start our 1-card combo, we still require a normal summon. So that's one of the weaknesses of this engine. The other option we have is we often go with 2 Magnet Warriors into our Merrymaker, allowing us to send our brothers from deck to grave into Sargus, which is ultimately searching out our Discoloseum and Therian King Regulus. So that's how we use this to create an Omni Negate to insulate our other starters. And then, as I said, we can always just go 2 bodies up into Exciton Knight. This engine pairs really nicely with the Ravine package because you can use the 3rd body if you're doing Merrymaker or Exciton. This 3rd body hangs, and you can use that with your Destrudo to make your Ancient Fairy Dragon and go into a combo without ever using a normal summon. So for the FTK version that I put on the channel before, we were using the Magnet line. The strength and weaknesses of this line are, like I said, your combo ultimately needs a normal summon. If you're going to use this as your 1-card starter, and you don't open anything else, that happens. But it's also really, really strong in terms of starter to engine ratio. If you're not playing Brother, you're looking at better than 3-to-1 starter to engine ratio. So it's a huge improvement on our kind of 1-to-1 baseline. If you're adding brothers in, you're still 2.5 to 1, which is pretty strong compared to what we have available to us now. The downside of the Magnet Engine, and I think this is where the deck building philosophies are going to split across the 2 variants I'm going to show today, is the points. So we're looking at 5 points for our Magnet Bonding, 6 points for our Linear, another 20 points for our Alimbertion. So for a total of 41 points for this version of the Magnet Engine. It's very heavy. This means that we're dealing with less than 10 points for our tech slots when we add this to our kind of core ABC list, including the Therian. For a lot of formats, that may not be palatable. One thing the Magnet Engine really benefits from is that it doesn't create discards. It actually just goes neutral and hand advantage when you add your Linear back to hand. So compared to other engines that we're going to show today, it allows you to keep your hand advantage alive. So if you're playing a non-FTK variant, that's a really important feature of an ABC deck. You need your hand to act as discards to allow you to actually interact with your opponent via your extra deck monsters. The Magnet Engine really lets you keep your hand advantage alive. Next, we'll talk about some of our options for a non-Magnet Warrior variant of the deck. This is our Allure Queen engine. So it's our 3 Allure Palace, 3 Allure Dance, 2 Chaos Allure Queen, 1 level 5 Allure Queen, and 1 Knight's End Sorcerer. Options here, as long as you're combining these two to equal a level 7, the engine works. This engine is a 6-starter, 4 engine slot ratio, so not as strong as Magnet, but still an improvement on our core deck. And what it does is it, again, fills all those 3 kind of boxes that we have. It's a 1-card starter. It's a 1-card board clear through Black Rose, and it is a 1-card Therian line. You're basically simply using Allure Palace to search 2 Chaos Allure Queens, attaching one to the other, which summons your level 5. Your Allure Palace will give your Chaos Allure Queen the effect to tribute itself, which will summon your Knight and Sorcerer from deck. When it's summoned, it gets to banish 2 cards from your opponent's graveyard, which will be helpful when you're going second. And now you're set up to either go into your Ancient Fairy Dragon to produce your 1-card combo into Hanger with a special summon. So again, no normal summon. Or go into your Black Rose Dragon to board nuke before you actually start your combos. Alternatively, if one of your discards off Allure Palace was a machine, you can go into your Ancient Fairy Dragon and instead search your Therian Discolosseum to summon your Therian to produce your Omni Negate to insulate your normal summon, which could be your X or Hanger. So, pretty straightforward. The nice part about this engine as well is that it's no points, which is great. Lets us save all of our points for tech cards. And this engine's a little smaller than we have for the Magnet Warrior engine. Unfortunately, the engine count's still the same, but we have less starters available to us. So instead of going 10-4, we're now looking at 6-4. There is a little bit of synergy, I'll point out, with the Chaos Allure Queens. They do let you summon pieces that you discard with them. So, for example, there is a 2-card combo. Very simply, if you open a Z or a Y with Chaos Allure Queen, because the Chaos Allure Queens adopt the names of the monster you send, you can fusion with them into Unit Controller. So oftentimes what will happen is you'll open your Chaos Allure Queen and a Y, for example. You'll pitch Y to summon Chaos Allure Queen. It'll go ahead and equip your Y to it, adopting its name. Special summon this from the equip, and then fusion there. So in that way, Chaos Allure Queen isn't quite as bad as other engine slots that we have. Yeah, so overall, a very strong engine. Not the best ratios, but these are some of the best starters available to ABC and Genesys. One more thing I'll add about the Allure Queen package is it's nice in that it doesn't add any extra deck slots to the deck. It simply piggybacks off the ones that we're already using for the Ravine package in the form of Ancient Fairy Dragon and Black Rose Dragon. Whereas playing the Magnet Engine in its entirety is looking at adding several extra deck slots just onto itself. Next up is another small, brand new engine that we're going to be pairing along with our Allure Queen engine. It also is a 3-2 ratio, just like the 6-4 ratio that we play in Allure Queen. It is 3 Sorcerer of the Swamp, 1 Chaoptera, 1 polymerization, and we add a Hornsaurus to the extra deck. So this also piggybacks off the Ravine Engine that we're already playing, and it's quite versatile, just like the Allure Engine. So really simply, to run the combo, you're going to send Chaoptera from the deck to the banish to special summon your Sorcerer of the Swamp. It's going to adopt the name of Chaoptera. Chaoptera is going to summon itself back as soon as it's banished and search for your polymerization. Then you're going to polymerization fusion right up into your Hornsaurus, which lets you activate a field spell directly from your deck. We're going to activate Ravine, discarding a card to send our Destrudo, which will now set up for our Ancient Fairy Dragon into Hanger. So just like with the Allure Palace line, we go right up into Ancient Fairy Dragon, and this operates the exact same way in that we're getting our Ancient Fairy or our Black Rose Dragon without any normal summons. And alternatively, we can also always Ancient Fairy up into Therian's Coliseum. So if your discard was a machine, like one of our Union Engine slots. So just like with our Chaos Allure Queen, which can adopt the names of our Union monsters to allow us to form a Union controller, Sorcerer of the Swamp can also do the same. So if for whatever reason you get to a situation where you can't access these cards to make your combo work off it, you can use it as an extender with a Union monster you control, like a light machine. You'll banish your Y or Z to activate Sorcerer's Effect, summon it, and then use these monsters to now go into your Union controller, just like you would normally to start your combos. Alright, now that we've talked about all the engines we're going to be using to build our 2 variants today, I'm going to do a quick recap, just so it's all fresh. We are looking at our 7 1-card core starters. These span both variants, so I'll kind of put them here in the middle. Next, which I'm suggesting for both variants, we're playing our 6 Ravine starters, our 3 unauthorized reactivations, again, across both variants, and some number of Therian across both variants. Next, we'll just quickly recap on the left here. We'll talk about our Magnet Engine here. Our 10 Magna starters. So that brings your total starter count for the Magnet variant to 23 in 60 cards. Again, these because your Magnet starters and your Ravine starters are so versatile, doubling up on them is totally fine. You love seeing a Ravine starter with a Magnet starter. You love seeing a Magnet starter with a core starter. They just simply add some versatility to what you can do in terms of producing Omni Negates and board clears as part of the execution of your combo. And then for the second variant, the non-Magnet variant, where we're cutting our Magnet Engine, we're going to be adding our Allure starters. So we're going to have our 6 Allure starters plus our 3 Sorcerer of the Swamp starters. So once again, we have our 7 plus 6 for our 13 plus 9 for 22. So we have 1 less starter in this variant, and we end up with, I think, 2 additional engine slots for the Allure kind of Sorcerer variant, which is really centered around juggling field spells, whereas the Magnet variant is really efficient in maintaining hand advantage, but costs more points. So in the case of both the Allure package, forcing you to play a card and then discard 2 cards, the way we play the deck, we often have 1 to 2 engine slots in hand, so that's usually not an issue for us. But if you really want to maintain hand advantage, this is a challenge, and In a lot of ways, this line is much better for the FTK because you don't care about hand advantage. You're ending the game anyway. You don't need to discard off ABC or XYZ. But I think in the modern format, we could be forced to play this variant on the right because we need the points for our tech slots. The other thing I'll quickly point out is just the extra deck requirements for both sides here. So simply by virtue of playing the Ravine package, we are going to be playing our Ancient Fairy and Black Rose Dragon. Once again, for our Magnet line, we're going to be adding our 4 Magnet extra deck slots. And then for our, specifically the Sork line, we need to add a Horned Saurus. So if you're playing the streamlined version of our combos, like so not the Galaxy package, or you're not trying to end on double Utopic Zexal, you do save yourself a lot of extra deck space by playing the version on the right, which is great for adding some versatility to the extra deck. Next, we'll just do a full recap of the Magnet variant of the deck with some suggested tech slots. So, really quickly, we have our standard starter lineup. We have our Ravine package across the top. We have our standard engine slots. Dropping Tortune gear for this version. Feel free to add if you want to use a slightly different combo. If you have any questions about combos that are on the channel or maybe missing, you feel like you don't have a good understanding of how to do this with a Tortune gear, let me know. I'll add one. We have our Magnet package with all of its 10 starters and 4 engine slots. From there, we'll add our 3 unauthorized reactivations, and we're going to do a full Therian lineup for this deck list. From there, we'll talk a little bit about our tech options. So for this list, we've now used 43 deck slots, so leaving us with 17 for tech to max out at our 60 card count. So starting off, we have 2 Twin Twister, 3 Cosmic Cyclone, 3 Forbidden Chalice, 3 Dark Ruler No More, 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, and then 3 Kaiju targets for that. Most of our tech can be set if we're going first under Tsukiyomi. So that's why we're not playing many hand traps in the deck. We really want to focus on getting advantage off Tsukiyomi and setting our tech slots. There are variants of the combo that don't need Tsukiyomi, but I do suggest a Tsukiyomi variant just to keep hand advantage alive in this deck. I really like the Kaiju engine for this deck. Pitching a Kaiju Slumber off a ABC isn't that bad. It's fine as a kind of a going first card in the deck because we can get the advantage, banish it, and then add a Kaiju to hand for turn 3 to push for game. There is also the option in the deck where if you go first, you can banish under our unit activation, using a second effect to banish itself from grave on tag out to search Jizukiru and summon Jizukiru. So you end up with an extra little body that sends your ABC pieces to grave off the tribute summon. And once they hit grave, you gain hand advantage back, which will give you the disposable discards for your XYZ, your remaining ABC on board, or things like Twin Twister. So that's a common little play. Jizukiru also being a light machine is nice because it does mean you can do things like slumber going second, slumber their board, give yourself Jizukiru, normal summon a Y, and start combo from that if you'd like. So just in this non-FTK version, there's a bit of utility in that because you're allowed to use these funny little like 2-card combos using Z or Y. For the extra deck for this variant, starting off with the standard package, we have our 2 ABC, our 2 XYZ, our 2 Union controllers. We have our Galaxy Photon Dragon, our Starring Knight, our Tsukiyomi, our Utopic Future Zexal. We have our 4 XYZs for the Magnet line. We've mentioned before, we have our Merrymaker, Sargus, Alimbertian, and Exciton. And then for our 15th card, we have our Ancient Fairy Dragon. We've dropped our Black Rose Dragon for this variant. Typically what's going to happen is you won't Black Rose with Ravine. You'll instead use your Magnet Engine to produce your Exciton, and then you're going to Ravine for your Ancient Fairy Dragon. Alright, for our non-Magnet variant, we've dropped our Magnet Engine. We're changing out our tech cards. We're swapping a couple extra deck slots out. We're going to continue to drop our Torque Tune gear for now. And we're going to add in our Allure Queen Engine and our Sorcerer of the Swamp Engine to replace the Magnet Engine. And with much more points devoted now to our tech slots. We're going to be playing 3 Cosmo Queen, the Queen of Prayers. This is simply a great card that allows us to pivot between field spells. So basically, whenever anyone activates a field spell, you or your opponent, it summons itself from hand, and then during your main phase, you can activate its effect to destroy your field and search another one, or target your opponent's field, negate it for the turn, and search a field for yourself. So if you're going second, it can sometimes be a 1-card starter. And if you're going first, it often just lets you pivot between your field spells. Next we have 3 Forbidden Droplets. One of the best tech cards for ABC ever. For more monster hate, we're going to be playing 3 Book of Eclipse, then 3 Dark Ruler No More. Finally, 1 Forbidden Chalice, and then ending with 3 Cosmic Cyclone. Starting us off for our standard core, we have our 2 ABC, our 2 XYZ, our 2 Controller. Nothing's changed there. We have our Galaxy Photon Dragon, Starring Knight, Tsukiyomi, and Utopic Zexal. So again, that's the core. Then we're adding our Ancient Fairy Dragon. We're still playing our Ravine package, and it's key to allowing us to use our Sork and Allure packages. We're playing our Horned Saurus for our Sork of the Swamp. We're playing a Black Rose, because we're really good at making it this deck. 1 Emerald and 1 Exciton. Exciton's kind of for the mid game to make sure you can kind of push your advantage, and Emeralds to keep you going through the grind game and recycling all your components. So just closing out, guys, we have one more time. We have our 2 ABC Genesys deck lists for the non-FTK variant. 1 Sork/Allure, 1 Magnet, both 60 cards. Both try to improve on our core ratios and ultimately end on our standard end board of ABC, XYZ, Utopic Zexal. If you have any questions about how to make this work, how the combos work, please leave them down below. Hopefully the channel now has all the combos you need to get this going. Whether you're starting with a Ancient Fairy Dragon via any of your combos over here, you're starting with your 1-of Hanger, which is often just mimics your Ancient Fairy Dragon starts, or your X-Cross Cannon that you bridged into by Union activation or Magnet. So if you're missing any of those combos, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'd recommend check out the rest of the channel for the kind of the FTK lists and all the other kind of weird variants we have of the non-FTK deck, including Exo Sister kind of comp variants and Galaxy variants as well, if you're interested in playing a little more flavor in your extra deck, complicating your end boards a little bit, and trying out some new engines. See you guys the next time.